Hello, Assalamualaikum everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the HamSukhan podcast. I still remember the other day, my mom in my childhood would be there for me at every night opening a Time Life storybook. From Search for the Seven Sisters to Mr. Boggles, I have read all of them. And that's when I realized that reading is such an important thing growing up. Like in आजकल क्या है, you suddenly realize कि जो culture है book reading का, that's being slowly replaced or being neglected in itself. So that is why we decided that we're going to make a video on something that matters quite a lot to some of us. Like I'm sure Safa can relate. It's about book reading culture in Pakistan, the decline, and what we're actually missing out on. So before I actually start with the episode, the thing is, both of us have recently conducted book hours thanks to Atom Camp. Safa ne Malcolm X पे किया, मैंने किया.
Atom Camp and Learners Republic. That's what
Yes.
the book hour is under.
Sponsored messages. तो
Yes.
मैंने मैन कॉल्ड ऑफ पे किया और उसके अलावा माय ब्रिलियंट फ्रेंड पे वेयर सफा डिड ऑन मालकम एक्स's book. So
I
before
did it on Malcolm X. उससे पहले क्रिकेट इन पाकिस्तान डॉक्टर अली खान की किताब थी डेयर टू लीड. तो इधर हर हफ्ते से
that's one of my favorite books.
Yeah,
लेकिन
love that book.
लेकिन before we actually talk about the whole decline and all, why not just begin with why books matter in the first place? So Safa, when you read Malcolm X's book, what did you learn in the first place that made you so, excited, enthusiastic about it in the first place?
I loved reading Malcolm X. मैं Malcolm X की autobiography I think 3-4 सालों से पढ़ रही हूँ, and you guys are a witness to that. So I started reading it during my last years at Lums. लेकिन I realized कि I don't have a habit of reading like I did जैसे बचपन में होती थी. बचपन में तो हम बहुत हर किस्म की किताब पढ़ते थे, Famous Five, Goosebumps, or like non-stop Harry Potter type. We were always reading because that was the best way to spend our time. तो मुझे काफी मुश्किल होती थी किताब खत्म करने में. शुरू तो मैं बहुत सारी कर देती थी. जैसे लोग कहते हैं ना कि buying books and reading books are different habits. So I was definitely a book buyer, but मुझसे books खत्म नहीं होती थी. So then I told myself कि यार book hour अगर मैं sign up करूँ तो I'm gonna be able to finish this book. So I read Malcolm X, and that's when I truly appreciated कि यार ये कितनी amazing book hai. There is so much to talk about. Like I feel like we could do a whole episode on Malcolm X, and I think we should आगे जाके inshallah. So one thing that really stood out to me जब हम सोच रहे थे इस episode का बनाने का ये book reading in पाकिस्तान के बारे में, तो Malcolm X की कहानी में actually बहुत एक interesting चीज आती है, एक moment आता है where book reading completely transforms him, and actually book reading is how he becomes Malcolm X as we know him today. So basically Malcolm X actually grade 8 में he drops out of school because his dreams and aspirations of becoming a lawyer are broken by his English teacher who he really looks up to, because he is a black kid in America. तो उसकी teacher he means well, तो लेकिन वो कहता है like you cannot be a lawyer, आप ज़्यादा carpentry बन सकते हो. So Malcolm X बहुत disillusion हो गया, and he fell into this whole life of crime and drugs and things like this. फिर he ended up in prison. अब prison में जब वो गया, he met this guy called Bimbi. अब Bimbi का that was the first step he took towards seeing कि यार how much words matter, ठीक है, how much words can transform us. तो बिम्बी का क्या सीन था कि बिम्बी जब बोलता था he noticed कि people would respect him, people would listen. He commanded respect with his words. So he found that very fascinating because he had come from a life of mafia culture, or बड़े slang के साथ बोलना, और like एक मतलब बहुत एक masculine किस्म की, where you have to be a thug to earn respect. You would be known to have a reputation that you can kill, and that's how you earn respect in that world. So this was the first time he saw someone कि यार ये बंदा बोलता है and people listen to him and he has a lot of respect. So he started reading books. अब क्या हुआ कि when he started reading books, so he couldn't understand the books क्योंकि उसने grade 8 में तो drop out कर दिया था, and he never picked up a book after that. तो उसके लिए उसने क्या किया कि he was like चलो हम क्या कहते हैं जब हम books पढ़, like if we cannot understand books, what would be your approach?
I would literally refer to a friend, or I would try to Google up something जो मुझे समझना है.
हाँ, ये would अब Google तो उसके पास था नहीं, and दोस्त उसके पास थे नहीं, तो another like approach जो लोग लेते हैं वो ये है कि हाँ अगर हम पढ़ते रहें तो हमें समझ आ ही जाएगी, कभी ना कभी तो आ ही जाएगी ना, like habit हमारी बस नहीं है. तो he thought that as well, लेकिन he realized कि उसने बहुत सारी किताबें पढ़ ली हैं लेकिन उसको अभी तक कुछ समझ नहीं आ रही. तो उसने सोचा, एंड इस टाइम के अराउंड एक एलाइजा मोहम्मद जो कैरेक्टर है, इफ यू रीड हिज बुक यू विल नो दैट. So he started writing letters to Elijah Muhammad. And the first letter he wrote, he really struggled to put sentences together because उसका ना grammar सही था ना उसे कुछ मतलब लिखने की आदत उसके अंदर नहीं रही. तो ये दोनों चीजें जब हुई ना कि बुक्स उसे समझ नहीं आ रही ना उसे लिखा जा रहा है, तो he got very frustrated and he sat down one day in prison, by the way, and he got himself a dictionary. तो डिक्शनरी उसने ली and he started copying every single letter and word by word, letter by letter, line by line on a piece of paper. And it took him the entire day to copy down the first page of the dictionary. And aista, second page, third page, fourth page, and he copied down the entire dictionary. And then he went back to reading books and he realized कि मेरी vocabulary base बहुत बढ़ गई है. Now books are making sense to me. And then he started reading about philosophy, he started reading about ये साउथ एशिया में जो हुआ था colonialism के अंडर, गांधी के बारे में उसने पढ़ा, जो like holocaust के बारे में पढ़ा. And he read about black slavery, like जो slavery की जो history थी, traditions थे जो ज्यादती की गई थी. So he was so shocked and he's like, there's so much I did not know about who I am, what my identity is, दुनिया में क्या हो रहा है, like मुझे कुछ पता ही नहीं था. So that is when he started writing letters every single day to Elijah Muhammad, to his siblings, to his friends, and then he started reading every single day. And that's when he started becoming Malcolm X. That's when he actually got glasses as well. Prison में time out हो जाता था ना 10 बजे रात के, तो कॉरिडोर में डिम लाइट होती थी, उधर छुप कर पढ़ता था अंधेरे में, तो उसकी नजर कमजोर हो गई. So this is how much books can completely transform a person who went from a life of criminals like crime, drugs, वगैरह, and then he became known as Malcolm X, who is an unforgettable leader. Even now, his legacy, like, it's alive.
Important you mentioned how he didn't know about stuff happening across the world. A common issue that I've seen over here is even during my classes, जब लोगों को कहें कि Africa में ये poverty and these are existing world issues. So I don't know if this is a sense of entitlement or like superiority, but most of the people in my class, especially the Europeans or the Britishers, they're like, no, that's not true. That's not how it happens. And then they start comparing the poverty in UK with the poverty in Africa, and they're like, both are equally worse. And we've had quite a lot of debates about it, and it sounds so weird me telling this right now, but it has actually happened. And I'm just sitting over there and imagining, do they even know what it means for them, or क्या वहाँ पे बुरे हालात हैं? But then again, I'm not someone to judge, but this does happen. But if they actually read literature, और ये बात हमारे प्रोफेसर्स भी कहते थे लम्स के कि बाहर जा रहे पढ़ने, but keep in touch with other literature, पाकिस्तान के बारे में पढ़ो, अफ्रीका के बारे में पढ़ो, so you actually know everything. यहाँ पे ये होता है when you're learning, it's like you're reading literature about London in itself, you're reading about maybe Belgium and all.
Why is that important? Just like मैं पाकिस्तान में हूँ, why would I read about literature?
So it's like you start to realize you're in a small bubble and you don't even know about the real life issues as well. तो ये होता है कि आपको अंदाजा ही नहीं है कि हो क्या, और जब किताबें पढ़ते हो तब आपको पता चलता है कि ये इश्यूज हैं और हमें ये डील करना. अब हमने छोटे से बबल में रहो तो आपको कुछ समझ नहीं आती. तो with that being said, it's important to to tell over here that the same prison cell where Malcolm X was, that has now been turned into a library. Has now been turned into a library, and it is so fascinating because there was a poet called Betts. He went to prison because crime में पकड़ा गया, and that's where he actually started reading books too. And it's the same prison where Malcolm X was. And then soon he realized that my life can be transformed जब मैं किताबें पढ़ूंगा, मैं नई चीजें सीखूंगा. And now he's a poet who won a grant as well for being called a genius.
Malcolm effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Malcolm X की बात तो हमने कर ली. Safa, what do you enjoy most about reading? और जब तुम पढ़ती हो, तुम क्या नई चीज सीखती हो? Why is book reading important to you in the first place?
I feel like you're the right person to start this off with, because मेरे अंदर बिल्कुल habit मर गई थी reading की. Like ठीक है, यूनिवर्सिटी में जो पढ़ना होता था वो पढ़ ही लेते थे, and I really enjoyed that. लेकिन वो जो reading books for pleasure as a hobby, वो तो नहीं रही थी ज़्यादा. So you are the person that really shamed me into reading बहुत ज्यादा. तो जरा flex मारो आपने कितनी किताबें पढ़ी पिछले summers में and कैसे आपने अपनी journey start की of finding books again. You are
तो
more qualified to talk about this than me.
थोड़ी थोड़ी शर्म आ रही मुझे बताते हुए, बट in the last summer vacations I ended up reading 34, yeah, I think
Yeah.
34 books. तो काफी मजे की कहानी. आई रिलेट टू सफाज इशू के यूनिवर्सिटी में होते थे, इतनी लम्स की रीडिंग होती थी एकेडमिक.
And I knew you. You did not read that many books. We
हाँ,
did not read
it's
that
like
many.
it's like
हम
one
कहते
book
थे
in
यार हम
half a
पढ़ते
year.
नहीं हैं. हाँ, फिर हमने चैलेंज दिया. And Faiz took the
it's
challenge way too seriously.
तो मेरा ये, मुझे को गलती से चैलेंज कर दिया तो मैं बहुत सीरियस हो जाता हूँ, तो हमारा लम्स खत्म होने लगा था. और इट्स लाइक मैं सफा को, सफा बुक्स नहीं पढ़ती, कहती नहीं तुम पढ़ते हो क्या? नहीं. तो कहते चलो हम दोनों पढ़ते हैं गर्मी की छुट्टियों में.
Yeah.
खैर इसके पास जॉब थी, मैं कुछ नहीं कर रहा था.
We were like, let's hold each other accountable. So
Yeah,
I
it's
would
like
read like one book a month, mar ke, and by that time, Faiz would be done with 11 or 12 books, and I'd be like, why am I trying?
तो इसी तरह हुआ. सो इनिशियली आई स्ट्रगल्ड क्वाइट अ लॉट बिकॉज आई वाजंट इन द हैबिट. आपसे पढ़ी नहीं जाती. कभी कभार सर में दर्द हो जाती है. अच्छा मजे की बात है, मोबाइल
हाँ.
घंटे इस्तेमाल कर लो, सर में दर्द नहीं होती. बुक पढ़ने बैठो, एकदम से लाइक फॉन्ट बड़ा गंदा है, पढ़ा नहीं जा रहा. सो इनिशियली आई वेंट थ्रू ऑल ऑफ दिस इश्यूज के आई कुडंट रीड प्रॉपर्ली, आई कुडंट फाइंड द राइट कंसंट्रेशन. आई वुड बी लाइक आई नीड प्रॉपर एनवायरनमेंट टू स्टडी.
नहीं, जब आप पढ़ने शुरू करते हो ना शुरू शुरू में, तो आप you can't find a comfortable way to sit as well. Like you like phone
हाँ,
पे तो आप
posture ही नहीं
किसी
सेट
position में आप
होता.
यूज कर सकते हो,
Posture
but
ही
you're
नहीं
like यार
सेट होता.
टांग सही नहीं है, ये वाली टांग बहुत दर्द कर रही है,
कमर में
ये
दर्द
इधर.
आ रही है. अच्छा, अब
हाँ,
बड़े फैसिनेटिंग चीज है. शुरू में मुझसे शुरू नहीं हो रही थी और बाद में मुझसे रुके नहीं जा रहा था. मुझे आज भी याद है, मेरी अम्मी मुझसे, मैं उठा ना सुबह 12 बजे, तो अम्मी कहती है इतना लेट क्यों उठे हो? तो मैं बड़ी शर्मिंदगी में बताता था, अभी वो मैं बुक पढ़ रहा था, मुझे पता नहीं चला रात के 4 बज गए थे. एंड दैट साउंड्स सो वियर्ड बट दैट एक्चुअली हैपेंड. तो कहते कहते इट्स एक्चुअली फैसिनेटिंग थिंग. आप सारे कहते हैं मैंने दुनिया के इधर सफर करना है, उधर जाना है. But when you start reading books, you actually go into a different world altogether by reading about stuff like I personally maybe one of my favorite books last year was My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. वो सफा ने भी पढ़ी है, फिर मैंने बुक कवर भी उस पे की है. ठीक है. और होता ये था, यू सडनली ट्रांसफर टू नेपल्स. आप इटली की सोसाइटी देख रहे हो, आप देख रहे हो कि वो कर क्या रहे हैं. यूर लाइक this happens in Italy as well. I can relate to this in Pakistan as well. Then you get to know about अगर अगर आप पाकिस्तानी, आपके नाना नानी कोई सोराब की साइकिल का बहुत सुना होगा आपने. So like there is this affiliation with Sorab. इसी तरह you get to know in Sweden there was this association with a particular brand of cars as well, and everyone would have the same car. और आपको realize होते हैं, oh, so I'm getting to learn about Sweden without actually having going there. And suddenly हाँ, मेरे बहुत कुछ में काम करता हूँ. मैं फोटोग्राफी करता हूँ, मैं लिखता भी हूँ. सडनली बुक्स पढ़ पढ़ के आपकी क्रिएटिविटी इज लाइक आउट ऑफ योर नॉर्मल जोन. यू नाउ you have so many things to relate to, so many ideas to go to. और होता क्या है, राइटिंग बेहतर हो गई, क्रिएटिविटी बेहतर हो गई, सडनली मेरी
And
फोटोग्राफी
you
बेहतर हो
could
गई, which
say
has no
that
relation.
difference काफी tangibly because you were writing pretty regularly before you started reading so regularly. And then जो 3 month का तुम्हारा फेज आया जिसमें तुमने पता नहीं 50 किताबें पढ़ी जितनी भी, तो how did you see that reflect in your writing? Like what changed
It
in the way
did,
you
it did.
thought
It's like
your creative
जिस
process?
तरह राइटिंग स्टाइल किसी ऑथर का होता है ना, और आपको पसंद है, यू गेट इंस्पायर्ड बाय, यू स्टार्ट राइटिंग इन इट. फिर इसी तरह सिमिलीज आते हैं, फिर मेटाफॉर्स आते हैं, पर्सोनिफिकेशंस होती हैं, दो सॉर्ट ऑफ.
I noticed as well there was just more depth in your
Yes,
writing. Like
exactly.
जो जैसे for example you named the book My Brilliant Friend. अब आप वो किताब पढ़ो, उसके अंदर इतनी इंटरेस्टिंग साइकोलॉजिकल इंसाइट है टू हाउ अ ह्यूमन माइंड वर्क्स, हाउ रिलेशनशिप्स के जो जो कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज होती हैं, जो नुआंसेस होते हैं, तो शी पुट्स इट इनटू वर्ड्स इन वेज दैट वी वुड नॉट बी एबल टू अनलेस वी हैड नॉट रेड हर. तो दे give you the tools to explain your own experiences. Like that's what happens. And
it's so fascinating. My Brilliant Friend is such an emotionally taxing book. आप पढ़ते हो, आप सोचते हो यार तो बहुत, but then you can't stop reading as well. You're like मैंने देखना आगे क्या होता है. And somehow I even managed to relate quite a lot to that book, and you're like shit, ये तो मैं भी करता था.
Yeah, you
And
feel
and then
exposed.
you're like, oh, so if I was thinking this, the other person was thinking this because of my actions. तो वो आपको एकदम से एक और ख्याल आता है. तो उस लिहाज से my brilliant friend of book reading has inspired me quite a lot. और I was personally guilty. मैं नहीं पढ़ता था. ठीक है, लम्स में मैं बिल्कुल भी नहीं पढ़ी. और सडनली मेरे अम्मी अब्बू को पता होता था मुझे जो भी पैसे मिलेंगे 4 दिन बाद लिबर्टी बुक्स का पार्सल मेरे घर आ रहा होगा. उनको पहले ही पता होता था मेरा ही आ रहा है. तो
Yeah.
ये है. लेकिन Safa has started book culture Islamabad में काफी हद
I
तक.
have not
Not
started book
started,
culture.
not
It's such
started.
a big claim. I know. Acha. Islamabad में basically, acha, for those of you who don't know, I work at Atom Camp. So if there already Atom Camp for Learners Republic एक book hour रखता है Said Book Bank में Islamabad में, which has been happening for over 2 years. So I am just another part of it अब आके. So I do it sometimes and I help conduct it and plan it and things like this. तो उसमें काफी interesting अब advancements हो रही हैं. We've started a kids book hour, for example. तो Arhama is one of the people जिसके साथ मैंने book hour भी किया था. हमारी वीडियो भी है YouTube पे where we talked about cricket culture in Pakistan. तो उसके साथ मिलके एंड इकरा के साथ मिलके वी स्टार्टेड किड्स बुक आवर जहाँ हम चाह रहे हैं क्योंकि हमने बचपन में बहुत किताब पढ़ी है. बाद में तो चलो आदत छूट गई. बचपन में बहुत किताब पढ़ी है एंड दैट रियली आई फील लाइक रियली शेप्ड मी एज अ पर्सन एंटरिंग इनटू माय टीनेज इयर्स. आई फेल्ट लाइक मेरी एक्सप्रेशन my expression came to me much more easily than it would have had unless I had not read. Like अगर मैं ना पढ़ती, I feel like I would have struggled more even in school. And even as a like I think it helps you thoda sa build your social skills as well, and you know the way you think, your creative process. So young age में we felt कि यार ये बुक रीडिंग सैक्रिफाइस नहीं होनी चाहिए. बाद में चलो ठीक है डर से जो भी करना है ठीक है विल ट्राई. लेकिन किड्स पे वी रियली वांटेड टू फोकस. तो वी स्टार्टेड अ बाई वीकली थिंग कि हम किड्स बुक रखने शुरू हो गए हैं. एंड the classics that we grew up with, you know, जैसे Roald Dahl हो गया या Enid Blyton हो गई and
Oliver Twist
stories like
हर बच्चे ने पढ़ी होती है.
stories like this. That would be on our list as well. तो ऐसी किताबों को हमने start किया and we want to start expanding it inshallah. There is another अभी recently we met this person who was the co-founder of Bouquet in Pakistan. Or Bouquet is a book reading society or club in Pakistan. I think Facebook पे काफी बड़ी उनकी 14,000 की community है. तो we paired up with them. उन्होंने बड़ा अच्छा initiative इधर इस्लामाबाद में start किया है. अभी Black Hole है for example इधर इस्लामाबाद में. So I'm talking about Islamabad because I live here, and I think it's really worth highlighting the efforts that are going into book reading culture, building book reading communities in Pakistan. तो हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं लाहौर में भी हम थोड़ा start करें. Readings में हम कभी कभी कर देते हैं. Faaiz is doing it in London from like Bukhara ke under ही. Like Faaiz has done too, and he's been pretty consistent so far. So like these efforts
आगे का
really
पता
matter.
नहीं.
We want कि हर किस्म we want हर किस्म का बंदा आए. You know, encourage your families, and we're hoping कि HamSukhan can also play a part in that.
On that note, I think it's time to move on to what we actually have planned. So the thing is, हम बातें तो इतनी कर रहे हैं, तो why not actually do something जिससे आपको book reading की तरफ आप जाएं. So what we thought of was a book club under the banner of HamSukhan. So what we wanted was we select a book. It's not going to be an easy book. It's not a typical read that you have.
We're not gonna choose a book like The Power of Habit and Freakonomics and पता नहीं like ठीक है, these are nice books I'm sure, but and these are good books. Like, and we want a book that will actually really challenge us थोड़ा सा, you know, that would be hard to do on your own. तो थोड़ा सा something that we feel like is really worth putting a lot of effort into, and it might be hard to do it alone.
Yeah.
We want to create a community where
the thing is हम चाहते हैं consistency और एक honest effort to actually read.
It should be a challenge.
Yeah,
like, the book reading will
it will be a challenge. It's not like कि आप
Yeah.
आराम से पढ़ लो. So what we expect from you guys is like 30 pages a day, like half an hour दिन का निकालना.
And that's what we're planning for now.
Yeah. अभी हमारा पता नहीं क्या बने, लेकिन खैर
अभी हम ट्रायल रन करेंगे बुक क्लब का right after Eid. We will announce it on our
तो
socials.
होगा ये कि हम we'll have a 15-day challenge जिसमें हमें 15 दिन में एक बुक पढ़नी पड़ेगी, and it would be like just take out half an hour of your daily life.
That's the requirement. That's it.
It's not much. Half an hour, just keep on reading it, और eventually जब पूरी community मिलके पढ़ेगी, slowly हम आहिस्ता आहिस्ता ज़्यादा बेहतर करेंगे, हम और लोग लाएंगे, हम books भी diverse करेंगे. Because honestly, it's our first experience as well running a book club. So we're not saying we're gonna do it in like amazing job. हम भी सीखेंगे साथ साथ, but we want an honest effort. challenge
challenge for us as well.
because एक चीज बहुत मुझे अजीब लगी थी यहाँ पर आकर पाकिस्तान में यू हार्डली एनी सी एनीवन विद अ बुक. यहाँ पर जब ट्रेन रुकती है और सारे अंदर बैठते हैं, everyone takes out a book. Like almost everyone. Like obviously exceptions होती हैं.
Like
And
especially ये जो public spaces का issue है.
हाँ ये
उधर
public
आप बैठ के पढ़ सकते हो किताब, इधर आप पाकिस्तान में कहाँ बाहर बैठ के पढ़ सकते हो यार. कोई like there is no
हाँ.
way to sit
ये
outside and
ये
read a
भी एक
book.
बहुत बड़ा फर्क है. मतलब आप किसी भी पार्क में चले जाओ. Like I personally go to parks every Sunday and just go and read a book for 2 hours. That's like अगर मैं पूरा हफ्ता ना भी पढूं, मैं संडे को किसी भी पार्क चले जाओ, आपके पास ये लिबर्टी, आप आराम से बैठ के पढ़ सकते हो. And
100%.
even if you do not
And it
have a
won't be
book,
considered weird if you saw someone here sitting in a park and reading. You'll be like, this guy doesn't have a life.
हाँ तो यही होता है. और अगर किसी के पास बुक ना हो तो किंडल बहुत होता है. मैं शुरू में मुझे पता नहीं था किंडल क्या होता था. हमने को वो फर्क स्क्रीन है लोगों से.
I got a Kindle next year, you know this.
Yeah, I don't want a Kindle. I want my books to be
I
on my
got a Kindle.
bookshelf
I
as a
lost it
trophy.
in lunch.
That's so you.
Yeah.
Like okay. On that note, Safa, do you have anything to say before I wrap up this episode?
Hey, not really. बस यही कि अभी we're figuring out the details of how we want to conduct it. But we're gonna announce it soon. And even if no one joins, that's fine because हम दोनों ने तो करना ही करना है. And whoever wants to join us is more than welcome to. And I said we're gonna start building on this. Reading activities, writing activities. Writing हम पहले भी कर चुके हैं, मैं Faaiz. It was a great experience. So we're gonna keep doing these things regularly, inshallah.
That's the main point of HamSukhan. Apart from these videos and like maybe blogs.
Videos तो बस हम नहीं कर रहे हैं, to be honest. The main like goal and vision is to have this.
I mean, ना बोलो शुरू HamSukhan का idea video से हुआ था.
That's true.
हाँ.
But the main vision was still to connect with people who would like conversate and discuss similar ideas and add their input.
Exactly. On that note, Safa, what's your current read?
Elena Ferrandi ki My Brilliant Friend ka Part 2, which is the story of uni. Excellent. Thanks to Faaiz for that one. Which one is yours?
A Girl's Guide to Murder.
Wow.
It's an easy read. It's not a difficult one, but I got suggested. So yeah. And on that note, I think it's time to conclude our episode. Hope to see you guys again or join us for the book club as well.
Join us for book reading adventure, man.
मिलकर
Oh my God,
सफर करेंगे.
I sound like a Nickelodeon episode, but yeah.
चल, Allah Hafiz.
Bye.